Yes, yes. What's up, everybody? Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. What's going on with it? Today, got a great conversation for you. You know, this is where we do casual, culturally relevant conversations from a global perspective. A lot of people talking about that 50th anniversary of hip hop, 50 years. I don't know. On the West Coast, is it 50 years? I don't think so. But at any rate, a lot of people out there trying to tell the story of hip hop, rap music, a lot of experts, a lot of wannabe experts, I just want to say, in this time of us remembering 50 years of hip hop, for me as a young executive, I had a front row seat to the birth of rap music from the very beginning. I was working at Bailey Broadcasting Services, Radioscope. Some of y'all remember all that. I was an artist manager, the poetess, got a chance to see many people, got a chance to be in the room where I watched stars being born, and so I want to just share. I'm reaching out through my Rolodex. Yes, I still have a Rolodex. Half of it is digital, but I got a Rolodex. All the people that I've met over the time, the people who were involved in the making of hip hop. My friend and I, Michael Nixon, we talk about this all the time. It's like we were there, the making of hip hop, especially from a West Coast perspective. So, got my good friend right here. I'm so glad we got a chance to do this right here because I haven't seen him physically in many, many years. But this is my guy right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Dwayne Muffla Simon. What up,
What it
brother?
do? Yo, Greg. Yo. Now wait a minute. Let me tell you your listening audience something. Greg has been we've been trying to get this done for weeks, maybe months. I don't even know. It's been a minute. And it's always been hit and miss. But yo,
Man.
today, Greg said, can we do this? Can we do it today? And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna clear my day. I was supposed to do honeydews today. My
Wow.
girl is not happy right now. I said, but wait, look, this is Greg. We go way back, baby. Before you were even born, we go way back. So
Man,
after said that, what it do, Greg?
what it do? Look, I'm gonna tell you how far we go back. We were all together in a meeting when they dropped the verdict on the cops that beat Rodney King. We were all together, and we
Yes.
just kind of sat there and looked at each other and was just like, "Damn."
Damn. Damn.
Oh man, so great to see you, brother. Now you are one half of LA Posse, and just for posterity's sake, break down what your credentials are in this whole thing called hip hop music.
Well, in this whole thing called hip hop music, I made my bones through a very well known DJ group, especially well known in LA, called Uncle Jam's Army. Through my cousin, Roger Clayton, rest in peace.
Hmm.
His partner, Gid Martin, started Uncle Jam's Army back in the day. It was Unique Dreams and it drew to Uncle Jam. And that's how I made my bones. And we moved on, me and my partner, Daryl, Bobcat, DJ Pooh, and the rapper Breeze, we moved on to LA Posse. With Def Jam and LL Cool J and all that type of stuff. So when you were talking earlier about the beginning of hip hop, we were pretty much right there. I mean, it wasn't the 73, but it was close to it when hip hop, the golden era of hip hop, let's put it to the that. We were right there, front row, front seat, driver's seat, passenger seat. We was riding all in that golden era hip hop limousine. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that
All
was
right. So you mentioned some of the artists there. Any songs that we might remember that you produced?
yeah, well, my biggest song that I've ever produced, I think, is with LL Cool J, is "I Need Love." We did the Bigger and Deffer album, which was "I Need Love" was on that album. Then LL and myself got together and we did the Walking with a Panther album. And then I had some songs with Run DMC, Beats to the Rhyme, The Real Roxanne, just yeah. But from the group that I'm with, LA Posse, there comes so much more with that, with
Mhm,
DJ Pooh, because him with Ice Cube and Snoop and
mhm,
and then Bobcat with Tupac and
mhm,
and Mac 10 and all them. So and then Daryl Pierce, he went on to work with John Singleton and so out of all of that, and Pooh, like I say, Pooh's probably the big dog. Him
mhm,
doing Friday, movies, film, and television. He's a mogul now. So
mhm.
I mean, out of the LA Posse came all of that, but out of Uncle Jam's Army came the LA Posse. So you got to pay homage to where we all started was
Mhm,
Uncle Jam's Army. So
mhm,
that's
mhm.
our claim to fame.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so they're saying 50 years of hip hop, and I have to ask this question. Everybody I bring through the show to talk about this. So, is it 50 years
It's
for
50
us?
years. The official date that hip hop community and the hip hop culture is recognizing is 8/11/73.
8/11.
That's the date.
Mhm,
8/11/73 was the day that Cool Herc had that first block party, underground basement type party with two turntables and a mic, and hip hop was born that day.
mhm,
So
mhm.
8/11/73 is the date that the hip hop culture and the hip hop community is recognizing as the beginning of hip hop. So it is
Nice.
50 years on the 11th of August of this year will be 50.
Mhm, mhm. All right. So back in the day with Uncle Jam's Army, I mean, man, legendary. There's got to be some documentaries coming soon about Uncle Jam's Army because that is the birthplace of the rhythms. I think coming out of the disco era. Uncle Jam's Army. Now, when did you start with Uncle Jam's Army, and how did it come about? And by the way, I didn't know that you were cousins
Yes, Roger's
with
my first.
Roger.
When I say cousins, everybody say, "Oh yeah, that's my cousin." Nah, we were cousins. We are cousins. I'm talking about every summer. We spend the summer together. All the whole whatever you think of as cousins, that's what we did. The Clayton
Nice.
family, the Simons, the Tates, the Jordans, we all got together during the summer. It was a big family affair. But
I
in
didn't
the
know
beginning,
that.
me personally, my very first dance for Uncle Jam's Army was in 1978.
Mm,
And we weren't even Uncle Jam's Army yet. We were Unique Dreams Entertainment.
mm, mm,
And
mm.
it was Roger, it was Gid Martin, it was Charles Woods, Rodney Bleeps, Dr. Funkenstein, Dave Storm, of course, Adrian and all the Roger's sisters, Adrian and Cindy, they was working the doors and all,
Mm.
and then we had a lot of other associates that were there. But I came in about that time. 1978 was like my first
Mm.
experience because I was just getting out of high school. I was, into athletics, but Roger was always into the music.
Yeah.
And there was this one particular dance. I was about to leave. No, I had left and went to the Air Force and came back. I was on leave, and picked up some of my buddies. Said, "Yeah, let's go to this party that my cousin's throwing down in Harbor City."
Mm.
We went, and that was my first experience, and I was hooked. After that, I'm like,
Wow.
dude, I don't know what caused me to not I joined the military. I wanted to hurry up and get out so I can get with the parties. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, but
Yeah.
yeah, my first experience was 78. I think Roger and Gid were doing parties shortly before then. But yeah, it was groundbreaking to say the least.
I remember Gid Martin. I need to call him.
You do, you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gid got a lot of stories. Edwin Vaults, he was the pretty much the business side of Uncle Jam's Army. He's got stories, he's got pictures, he's got stuff that you wouldn't believe. You got Lester, you got Dave, like I said, Dr. Funkenstein. You got so
Wow.
many people that got so many stories. And like you were saying earlier, there's got to be a documentary coming soon. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can tell the Uncle Jam's Army story. Egypt has it his way. Bobcat has this way. I have
Mhm.
a family with Marcus, and he has the way he sees it as he was born um, right, at the height of Uncle Jam's Army was he was born. He was scratching in diapers. Roger
Yeah.
used to bring
Wow.
him on stage, and he used to do his thing when in diapers. So I mean, everybody has their own perspective. My wish would be that we could all get together and do one. Of course, everybody has their own perspective, but there's one particular story where everybody could get involved, and I think it will be a good thing.
Mhm.
But with our people, it's hard to get us all on one page sometimes. So
Yeah. Yeah.
see what
Yeah.
happens here in the near future. I won't say in the far future. It's real near. This year for Uncle Jam's Army Day, which is October 28th of every year in LA, is Uncle Jam's Army Day. And this year, I think we're planning on doing something. I know it's getting close to that time, but look for something to happen October 28th with Uncle Jam's Army because it's been 5 years since we really had a real nice
Yeah.
get together for Uncle Jam's Army Day. So we're gonna see what happens.
Wow, 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 wow. Well, you mentioned Harbor City. That's kind of near Long Beach. You mentioned
Right.
Snoop. You mentioned a few.
Right.
Just because we do originate from Long Beach, but we do consider ourselves a global medium, but still we originate in Long Beach. So let me just touch on real quick. What is your memory of what is Long Beach's contribution to hip hop?
Okay. I can tell you, my partner Daryl, back in the day when we used to do interviews, and it may sound like I'm going off of what you're asking me, but it has a lot to do with what you're saying.
Okay.
When we were doing interviews, it was the culture of hip hop back in the day. New York had a hip hop culture. LA had a gang culture. You know what I'm saying? So, having said that, Long Beach, I think the thing that stands out most, aside from Snoop and his crew and the Long Beach people being from Long Beach, Snoop is definitely the Long Beach statue. If there was a statue for Long Beach, Snoop would be that statue.
Mhm.
Okay, but I think the thing that stands out the most was when I think it was 1984, 85, the Fresh Fest. Greg, you know where I'm going with
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, yep.
And when them Long Beach Crips ruined, I won't say ruined, they wrecked the Long Beach Arena, the Long Beach Convention Center, I think it was. And that was for the Fresh Fest. It was Houdini, Run DMC, the Fat Boys. Um, yeah, and it was woo. So that Long Beach, when I think of Long Beach and hip hop, that's the first thing that comes to my mind because that was a
Mhm.
big deal. Because that
Right.
was a big, that was one of hip hop's first big concerts, the Fresh
Mhm.
Fest.
Mhm.
And man, the gang culture was bigger that night.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So lots of violence, lots of fights.
Lots of youthful exuberance. That's what I call it. A lot of youthful exuberance was going on at the Long Beach Arena that night.
So did anybody get hurt?
Um, Officially, I don't know. I'm pretty sure
Right.
that some people were injured in some type of way.
Mhm.
However, I I I don't think there were any deaths.
Mhm.
Because
So
back then
set the stage for the people here. Maybe some won't remember that, or this is the
the
first
Long
time they're
Beach
hearing of
Arena.
it. So what happened that day?
If anybody knows where the Long Beach Arena is, that's a big venue, and it was packed that night. It was sold out.
Mhm.
If anybody knows about the Fresh Fest, it was one of the first big hip hop concert tours.
Mhm.
It was Run DMC, the Fat Boys, Houdini. Um, God, who else was on that tour? It was just a big. I think Curtis Blow was on it.
Mhm.
It was a big deal, and the tour came to L.A.
Mhm.
More specifically, the tour came to Long Beach, the Long Beach Arena. It was the most anticipated concert in LA for a long time. Everybody was
Mhm.
looking forward to it. But nobody was prepared for it to turn into what it turned into. I mean, without getting into too much detail, the people were getting thrown off balconies. It was the gang culture in Long Beach was at its peak at
Mhm.
that at that time.
Mhm.
Long Beach Crips, big deal, big
Mhm.
deal. Coming to Long Beach, with no bullshit
Yeah.
with the Long Beach Crips.
That's right.
So Long Beach Crips took over the arena. I mean, there was nothing security could do. Um, the Long Beach Firestone, all those cops down there, the sheriff, they were hard pressed to just simply contain it. They
Mhm.
couldn't stop it. They just wanted to try to contain it to
Mhm.
Long Beach. You know what I'm saying? It was a real big deal. So that was the first big, I'll say, hip hop black eye.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, LA has its own way of doing things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We
Yeah.
have our
Yeah.
own way of doing things on the West Coast.
That's right.
And we could have picked a better way to make our mark in hip hop for Long Beach. But Snoop being the entrepreneur, the forward seer, the forward thinker that he is,
Mhm.
I'm glad that he and his crew were the ones to pretty much be the phoenix for
Mhm.
Long Beach after that event, after the
Mhm.
Long Beach event,
Mhm.
because when you think of Long Beach now, well, me being old school, I thought of that. But when
Mhm.
you think of Long Beach now, the first thing you think of is Snoop.
Right.
Long Beach Snoop.
No, everybody, man. I mean, white, black, polka dot. I mean, everybody, and VIP records.
Yeah, when you think of Compton, you think of NWA. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Everybody's made their mark. So yeah, Snoop pretty much bought Long Beach. He was the phoenix that rose Long Beach
Mhm.
out of those ashes of the Fresh Fest. I
Mhm.
can't really call it ashes because the show was still a success. It was
Mhm.
scary, it was dangerous, but it was fun. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And I pray that nobody. I don't know the details of the aftermath. I'm pretty sure some people got didn't go home unscathed.
Right. Right.
But I think I lost a shoe that night or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. That is big history, hip hop history. That Long Beach show, Fresh Fest, for sure.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Now, when you listen to, okay, as an OG in the game now, we listen to the music today. I think, as we come out of COVID, that there's a cultural revolution happening among Black folks. I know that especially after Juneteenth, we're beginning to examine ourselves with what kind of music we're putting out there. I know after the BET Awards, everybody's still crumbing on the BET Awards because it just seemed like it's just straight debauchery. I was talking to somebody over the weekend and they were talking about, oh man, they're sick of the stripper culture and everything. When you look at, as one of the originators, the creators, the pioneers from the beginning, and when you look upon the rap scene now, what's your heart? What do you think?
Okay. If you had asked me this question 10 years ago, I'd have been throwing up on the ground right now. right here. I straight throw up. But this is what I see. I see things turning around because everything comes full circle.
Mhm.
And I'll ask you this. I'll ask a question with a question. Um, this, say for instance, somebody like Little Yachty or 21 Savage or somebody like that. I can't think of one song right now off the top of my head that has that longevity that real that we were making back in the day. Like Friends and 5 Minutes of Funk and and 8 Million Stories by Curtis Blow and The Message by Melly Mel and I Need Love by LL and I'm back. These songs have longevity. I Can't Live Without My Radio, Run DMC, Sucker MCs. These have longevity because they were original, the original concepts, original pieces. The new stuff, there's no originality, there's no creativity. Um, it's pretty much it was just washed over stuff. But I think it's coming full circle and it's taking some of the old school hip hop pioneers and veterans to help save hip hop, to be honest with you, because hip hop was drowning for a long time to me. But now I hear stuff like, I just heard a song the other day, Cam. You know who Cam is, right? Cam, produced by Battle Cat. My God.
Yes.
Fire. And it takes stuff like that to bring hip hop back to show this new generation, okay, this is how you're supposed to do it. Busta Rhymes, he's trying to, bridge the gap. KRS, he always knowledgeable. Chuck, all the old school pioneers, there's a gap that needs to be bridged. And it's going to take us dropping our egos, reaching out. We're not trying, I always say this in interviews. I don't want to take the new school stuff and change your stuff. I don't want to change your I don't want to detour your creative vibe, your creative channel. But there's a way to go about doing things, structure, discipline. That's what's lacking in this type of, in this era, in this era of hip hop. There's no discipline when it just like you said, the debauchery. There's so much of it. There's only so much TNA that you can look at. Right. There's only so much. I mean, how many? Oh my God! Don't get me frustrated, Greg. Please don't.
Well, because I'm saying, man, the young man goes by with his boombox, and this music is straight pornography. What they're talking about.
Yeah, but that's because some of the times the kids are the artists are products of the environment, but then some of them sometimes they're just stupid. There's other things to talk about. There's other things there's knowledge. You have a responsibility when much is given, much is required. You have a responsibility you have a platform like this, as big as hip hop, now the biggest music genre in the world. Hip hop, something that's our stuff. We created it. You have a responsibility to put out. Okay, there's a place for all of that. Okay, we got our debauchery. We had back in the day. We had, what was the dude's name? The Dolomite. All them guys. You know what I'm saying? We had our Richard Pryors and our stuff. We had that. There's a time and place for that, but not the whole sandwich. Right. Dang. The whole sandwich got stripper marks on it. What I'm saying? It's crazy. But there's more stuff. Where are today's Chuck D's and KRS's and Cams and Rakims, and where are all the knowledge? Where's our today's Big Daddy Kanes? And there's room for entertainment. There's room for all of it. But there's so far and few in between as far as information. These are our African drums. This is how we get information to our people. I mean, we don't control the media, but no one controls the underground. No one. They can't stop.
This is what I'm saying. I think that music does have a place on the underground, but what I think the other folks have influenced our have come into the game and said, okay, this is what we want you to rap about, and they're lifting that up and they're putting it to the whole
Yeah,
world.
it's an
You know,
agenda.
it's
It's
an
an
agenda.
agenda to and it's targeted. It's a
Mhm.
targeted agenda.
Mhm.
So it's but we have to wake up. It's our genre. We have control of it. It's like that board game that I see a meme all the time of all the rich people playing a monopoly game, but all the poor people on the poor people's backs. All we gotta do is stand up and the game is over.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You stand up, the game's over. So that's yeah, it's on us. You can't stop blaming the white man. Can't blame the white man no more. Stop blaming him.
Mhm.
Yo, you know better. When you know better, you can do better.
Mhm.
So
So
it's
you're saying it takes self-determination in order
yeah, we
to
gotta be more
overcome.
disciplined as a people. I
Mhm.
mean, we that's one thing we lack. We lack
Mhm.
discipline, we lack support
Mhm.
of each other. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's sad that we're the only ones on the planet that do our own people like that.
Mhm.
Everybody else
Mhm.
is good, but
Mhm.
us, no, we the ones. And then we quick to point the fingers. But yeah,
Mhm.
okay, you can point the finger to the system, yeah. All the stuff that we can talk trash about, yeah, we can do
Mhm.
that. We
Mhm.
can do that, but eh,
Let me ask you, let's talk a little bit. I'm often thinking about the night that Biggie Smalls was killed, right?
mhm.
And just because I was there, I was at the party, and it was, I mean, but at that point, I'd been to a million Hollywood parties. That one happened to be one of the flyest parties, like in the history of Black Hollywood. That joint
Puffy's
was
involved.
on fire.
When Puffy's involved, he go big.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and then Fire Marshal has to shut it down. And as I'm leaving, Biggie and his crew, all of them, they literally were right behind me. I got in my little car, I went to the right. They drove out, went to the left, and I didn't hear about his murder until the next morning. Um, now talk about those times and what did that mean for hip hop when we lost Biggie, when we lost Tupac? Those seem to be two very key turning points in history. As a maker of the art form, what were your thoughts in those days?
I think it was a media fueled war that the media created. I think that I um how do I put this? Hip hop it it losing Biggie and Tupac was just one of many. I mean, they were the ones at their peak. They had a lot to say. Biggie more on the street side, Tupac on the street side, but also very knowledgeable. Tupac was no freaking dummy,
That's right.
um, by no means. So, um, I not so much Biggie, but I put Tupac in like a category of Malcolm X when it comes to the loss because he had a lot to say. He had a lot of experience with the Black Panther movement and all that stuff with his family and that all. So he had a lot more substance. But Biggie had, he had his street side, but it was Biggie was great. Tupac was great. He was very, very insightful on what he saw that was happening, conspiracy theories or not.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, was a lot. Yeah, he had a lot to say, and I just, man, I wish he
Yeah.
was. I wish the creator would have allowed him to say it, but
Mhm.
you can't go against whatever the creator has going on. It's his choice. They're his creations. He does with them as he pleases. So it
Mhm.
wasn't time for Tupac to say what he needed to say. Somebody else is going to come and say it.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to come and say it.
Now, would you imagine, like, when you look back in those days and time, when you look back when you were making the music and everything, and now when you look today, how universal hip hop is? Could you have imagined the success of hip hop? Did you see all of this coming? I got to be honest with you, I didn't. I was like, are
Okay.
these guys like, is the oldies concert of the future gonna be a hip hop show? And it is.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I, to be honest with you, did not put a cap on hip hop. I didn't know
Mhm.
how far it could go, but I knew it was going to be something because they was giving us checks for it.
Right.
You remember those? You know those big Lil Silas checks?
Yes.
The big Lil Silas, Tommy Mottola, Dwight Bibbs.
Yeah.
All the, you know them checks. They
Yeah.
was it was lovely back then, but now this streaming is kind of choked it off now. But
Mhm.
checks back in the day, of course, yeah.
Mhm.
The big wigs, the MCAs, the Sonys, the RCAs, they were writing too big of checks for it not to be something.
Mhm.
But and you
Mhm.
know, with our people, we're resilient. We ain't gonna let it just die.
Right.
Anything we put our hands on has turned to gold.
Right.
So I mean, they knew that, and they still know it. They
They
still
still
know
do
it.
it.
They
Yeah.
still know it. But they're
Yeah.
trying to control it now. And if we don't wake up a little more, instead of sitting on the edge of the bed just yawning, we need to get up and make something happen
That
because
makes stuff happen.
they know what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned streaming, and I was going to get to that. We saw bits and pieces of a Snoop Dogg interview where he's on a panel discussion and he's talking about, streaming. He asked a very basic question. It's like, how you got what do you say? How you got a million streams and you have $1 million? And now we have AI coming in. And I heard, I don't know how true this is, but I did hear from a very informed industry executive that said that Capitol Records was giving out AI only record deals these days. So
I believe it. They
yeah,
don't have
yeah,
to
yeah.
pay nobody. They don't
Right.
have to pay nobody. But here's the
Mhm.
thing. Here's the thing with what you're saying right now. It's I, with the streaming. I have information. You know what? Let's do this on your show. Let's
Yeah.
do this on your show. Let me give you some information that I have. For any of you attorneys out there, I want you guys to wrap your head around this. Now, Greg, this is an exclusive.
All right. I would love it.
If you Let's go back to 1986, 87, 88, 89, the golden era of hip hop. You know how those contracts were.
Mhm.
Um, And there's a clause in most, I'll say 90% or 95% of all contracts, even Michael Jackson's contract. In 95% of all contracts, there's a clause that states if let me set up the premise for you. If you remember the Columbia House where you can buy 11 CDs for 11 cents, 13
Yeah.
cents, or something like that, that
Yeah.
is called what? A third party, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's fast forward. If you look at most contracts, third parties are required to pay the same rate at royalty rate as the record companies. Third parties were required back then. That was back when you had the K-Tel and the Columbias and all that stuff. Fast forward to now, the new third parties, there's no more K-Tel and Columbias. The new third parties are Apple,
Wow.
Spotify,
Right.
see, these are the new third parties. So
Yeah.
if you guys look, check your contracts. If it has that third party clause in it, they're supposed to be paying you the same rate that the record companies are paying you, not this streaming bullshit.
Wow.
Not a million streams, $640. If you're getting 8 cents a record in your contract back in the 80s, you're supposed to be getting 8 cents a stream now.
Wow.
So wrap your head around
Interesting.
that.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. But
Yeah,
too, that's an album though, right? The 8 cents.
it doesn't matter. Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
So if it's a because it's kind of a singles based business now. It's almost like we used to
Okay,
go to the record store and
okay,
get the 45, right?
okay. Let's make it a single. 3 cents. If you're getting 3 cents a record, it's still more than a 0.0064 cents a stream.
Right.
You get a million streams, you're getting $640. You knock it off.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Yes. Wow. Very great perspective right there. That's for sure. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
the new third parties are these platforms. They're supposed to be paying the same amount.
Mhm. Now, what about AI? I mean, that seems like that's just you mentioned the newer artists seem to lack discipline, and basically they're not really putting in work like they should creatively. Doesn't AI make it even the more? I could write some lyrics in there right now and come out with some dope beats. It might make me rich.
Okay, but can AI go and cash a check? Who do you write the check to?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I
Who do you
don't
write the check
know.
to?
I guess my label. I guess.
You see what I'm saying? Who do you write
Yeah.
the check to?
Mhm.
It's a way of them to get around
Mhm.
paying you and
Mhm.
me. They don't want to pay us. Just like Stephanie Mills said back in the day at an interview with oh shoot, it was the ladies. Oh, and Selena Johnson.
Mhm.
Selena, I think her name
Uh,
is Selena Johnson.
the View,
Yeah, I think it's one of those
one of
shows.
those.
And Stephanie said they love R&B, but they don't want it from us. They want it
Mhm.
from Justin Bieber,
Mhm.
Christina Aguilera.
Mhm.
They want it from they want it from them.
Mhm.
Adele. They don't want it from Stephanie and Anita and they, no, no,
Mhm.
no. So it's the same. It's the same thing. I'd rather pay AI and Justin Timberlake, but I don't want to pay you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's come on,
Wow.
man. We always have to go the tough road. That's why black people are so resilient and so tough. We've
Right.
always had it tough. We've
Yeah.
always had it tough. The odds were always stacked against us from birth, from
Mhm.
the gate. Think
Mhm.
wrap your head around that. From the gate, from birth, in every situation,
Yeah.
school, athletics,
Mhm.
healthcare. The
Mhm.
odds are always stacked against us, but we
Mhm.
always
Always win.
we
Yeah.
always find a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The creator just made us that way. We're built for that.
Yeah. 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 The struggle continues, but
Yeah.
always to God be the glory. That's what the lady says. Wow, wow. All right, so now we talking. So back to the 50 years of hip hop. It's great history. It has. There might be somebody out there that's trying to figure out why are we even celebrating 50 years of hip hop. So what? And explain to people why that it is a culture first of all, and
Yes.
then why it is important to celebrate 50 years of hip hop music.
One, because it's ours.
Mhm.
We actually saw this thing being born.
Mhm.
We were put Greg, you and I, Greg, wrap your head around this. You and I were part of it. We're part of the seeds, the birthplace, especially here on the West Coast.
Yeah,
You with the poetess.
yeah.
Come on, from the gate back in the day, the Duffy Hooks. Oh, come on, man. We were there. It's ours. Wrap
Yeah.
your head around it. You have a piece of that. You can't. There's nobody can't tell you. Can't tell Greg Johnson that you didn't have contribution to the beginning of hip hop on the West Coast. Can't nobody say you didn't. Whether you spun a record, whether you cut a commercial on a Rogers radio scope. Come
Yeah.
on, back up in the hills with what's his name? What's the guy's name?
Lee
Lee
Bailey.
Bailey. Yeah, Lee Bailey. Yeah, come on.
Lee Bailey.
Dude, all that was hip hop.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hip hop. Come
Yeah, we
on,
were
man.
the first nationally syndicated hip hop radio show.
Yes, you
Yeah,
guys broke it. That's where we used to meet, Roger. We used to come up there all the time and cut our commercials up there.
yeah, yeah.
Come on, man. Up on the hill, you had to park your car a certain way, or that shit was going to go down that fucking hill.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah, come on, man. I know. Come on. I remember Greg. Come on, man. You and I are not just meeting.
Right. That's right.
Dude, we done been there. We've been there. We came up through the crack era and survived.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Come
brother.
on,
Yeah.
man. So yeah.
Amen. So awesome. What's the best hip hop show you've ever seen in your life? Like that you say, okay, that one was for the ages.
You mean hip hop live, a rap
Yeah,
show?
live rap show.
The best live rap show that I've witnessed with my own two eyes, I will say the Def Jam tour.
Mm.
Because we had interchangeable parts, but the main part of the tour was LL, Houdini, Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy. That was the main part of it.
Mm.
But then the interchangeable parts were Stetson Sonic, Dougie Fresh, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Run DMC, KRS-One. Now, let me stop there with the KRS-One. If you remember a song he did, one of the lines was, he started off the show, he wrecked the show, and then he left without a clue. That was one of the lines in the rhyme.
Mm.
He was alluding to when he opened up on the Def Jam tour at Madison Square Garden. He stole the show and then he left without a clue. Because he was the opening act. He came on before Public Enemy, the opening act of the Def Jam tour, and at the Madison Square Garden, and he wrecked. I mean, the audience was exhausted after the opening act. KRS wrecked that night. He won. We always would speculate who won on any given night. Houdini would always win in Washington D.C. We'd always win in D.C. LL would win wherever there was a lot of girls, but they always had to compete with Houdini. Houdini had a big old female fan base too. Public Enemy had the hardcore fan base, and Eric B. and Rakim. Oh my God, who won that night? Philly, the St. Louis. It was so many people that won, but that night, Madison Square Garden, there was nobody messing with KRS-One, and he was opening. I mean, he went on at 7:00, and I could have went home and been satisfied.
The show over.
The show was over at 7:30.
Wow. 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 My best show was when they debuted Public Enemy, and it was up at the Palace Theater, right up there on Vine, and it was the debut. They had never been here before, and it was like the industry thing. And man, that show was off the chain. That's all I know. That was one of the best ones ever.
You know who? No, wait. There was one show. It was at Glam Slam, Prince's old club.
Yeah,
and this was a night I'd never seen Ice Cube before. I'd never seen him as it perform. I've actually sat with him at a studio over in Glendale somewhere. We sat and talked a couple of times, but I've never watched him perform. And that night at Glam Slam, when that brother came out on stage, I said, "Now that's a freaking star."
Nice.
And he was already a star, but it just hit me like a rock. That's if you wanted to know what a star was in the dictionary, that moment right there was in the dictionary. He's a star.
Isn't
I
it
mean, he came
amazing?
out and all he did was come out, stand there with his hands out,
Yeah,
and place just the walls could have came down.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I saw him in Vegas. He's one of my favorite rappers, Ice Cube.
Mm,
I love him. I love Ice Cube.
yeah.
But you look at guys like Ice Cube, um, Fresh Prince, you name it. I mean, LL Cool J. These guys are like mainstream mega stars now,
Yeah.
movie moguls and everything like that. When they were, back when we were young, did you? What do you attribute their success, their visionary stature, and like as you interacted with them back in the day, could you see, an inkling of vision for these guys? Look
Yeah.
at Ice-T is
LL
playing.
early.
Look, Ice-T is
LL.
playing the police, man. Ice-T is playing the police, and he was
Here-
body count and all. He was the
Here's the
Public
thing with
Enemy
those
number
guys.
one.
Here's the thing with those guys. Ice T he was always grinding. Cause
Mhm,
so his work ethic was going to it. You can't push that hard and something not happen.
mhm,
He
mhm,
pushed. He pushed from coast to coast.
mhm,
So that was Ice T's day. LL, his hunger. That boy
mhm,
was hungry and he stayed hungry.
mhm,
He
mhm.
stayed hungry. It was like he was starving all the time. You gave him $50 million. He was like, dang, I need 50 million in one. You know, where's the
Right.
change? You know what I'm saying? He was always like that. Cube, smart.
Mhm,
Snoop, he's just his presence. It demands, a certain type of level of respect. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying in
yeah,
this game.
yeah.
Dre, um, Dre just knows he's a great puppet master.
Mhm, mhm,
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
mhm. I
He's a
understand.
great puppet master.
Mhm.
Um, DJ Quick, underrated.
Yeah,
Battle Cat.
yeah.
Um, when it comes to Battle Cat, I don't have words for Battle
Mhm,
Cat because
mhm,
he's always DJ Pooh used to be my favorite producer
mhm,
until Battle Cat came along.
mhm.
And so now DJ Pooh's my second favorite producer, but Battle Cat is my guy.
Yeah.
Because he's so different.
Mhm,
It may be a certain sound, but he's so him. Crazy Tunes, rest in peace. You know,
mhm.
the guys like that, Dub C, Melee, um, Rage. The people, these are the people that who my go-to is. My go-to people are when it
Mhm.
comes to music. My go-to is all the guys up in the Bay Area. Jay
Nice.
King, Peaches, my brother-in-law Peaches, B.A. Morgan,
Yeah.
D.O., Derek Allen,
Yeah.
all them guys, those are my go-to. Because those guys in the Bay Area are on another level. They're like artistic musicians. They're on
Mhm,
another level.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
They're just
mhm,
autistic when it comes to music. It's
mhm,
crazy to me because I feel out of place when I go up into the Bay Area.
mhm, mhm.
I feel like a
It's
kid.
different. Yeah, it's a different vibe, right? They
They
just
so
on the whole.
serious about it. They
Yeah.
so serious about it. And we have a few people down here that are serious about it in Southern California. But the Bay Area is like they come out the womb with a
Mhm.
doggone metronome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tick,
Yeah.
tick,
Yeah.
tick, tick. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But anyways, yeah, those Raphael for Sadiq, those guys, they just to me, they blow my
Man.
mind. The Bay Area,
So do
something
you
about
you
the air up there. I don't know.
you talk to LL? You still talk to LL and the
Reach
Ice
out to
Cube?
him through through the proper channels. 'Cause he's busy. There ain't no
Yeah.
way. I'm not gonna, yeah, I know better. I know the
Right.
game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
reach out to Claudine, his manager. Say, can a brother get a ticket? If I
Yeah.
can't get a
Yeah.
ticket, I wish you well because you can't go nowhere without me. You're in the
Right.
Hall of Fame. I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Well, man, I'm saying,
You can't
man,
get
I
away
Need
without that.
Love was a paradigmic record at the time, man, because you know
Yeah.
you writing love songs on rap, but that was unheard of in those days.
Somebody had to actually tell me, said, Muff, do you know you have two entities in the Hall of Fame? I'm like, two? I thought I knew about LL. And they said, well, isn't Run DMC in the Hall of Fame? I'm like, yeah, aren't they? I'm like, yeah, Beast of the Rod. I'm
Right.
like, oh, shoot. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay. So
Wow.
how many people can say they have two entities that they worked
Mhm.
on in the Hall of
Mhm.
Fame?
Wow.
Somebody had to tell me that. I still can't wrap my head around it, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool thing you can tell your grandkids, and they're like, "Yeah, I got LL Cool J. I helped him with some music back in his early in his career." And then the kids look at you and say, "Who's LL Cool J, Grandpa?" Well, let me tell you a story about a man
Right.
who did. Poor man
Yeah.
lived and kept
Yeah.
his feet.
Hilarious. I've been having this conversation. I'm the board president of the Arts Council for Long Beach, and that puts me in circles like, I'm going to the symphony and the opera and thus and so. And I've been talking about, hip hop and classical music or hip hop and symphony. Like I saw I think it was on YouTube or something, it was Nas was performing with the Kennedy Center's symphony. you know, uh, we've been talking about what would it take to and how would it sound to do a tribute to hip hop done through a symphony music. What do you think about that? What do you think? How do you think people have now? What would I say? Accepted rap music to where they would integrate it with symphonic music.
Some people have thought, me myself personally, have toyed around with doing a hip hop opera.
Nice.
But that we toyed around with that was like almost 10, 15 years ago, and nobody's really touched that since.
Mhm.
But I mean, it could be interesting. You
So
never
you
know.
were part of the hip hopera
I
back in the
wasn't
day.
part of that one that you know about. The one
Okay.
I was thinking about was doing. I was just it was samples. It was really grimy
Sure.
hip hop underground. Instead of having some opera singers singing stuff, I was sampling opera singers.
Oh, I see.
Putting it into the SP 1200, that type of stuff. So it wasn't. It was an experiment. I never really saw it all the way through. But that's it's still a possibility. Somebody's gonna do it. Somebody's
Sure.
gonna do it and be successful with it because hip hop is a what do you call that, a juggernaut when it comes to music. Anything you stick hip hop to. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
the country
Yeah.
western. Look at what's that dude's name? Little Nas X. Come
Little
on, man.
Nas X.
Come
Yeah,
on, man. Country. You
that
serious? Knock
that
it
was a
off.
surprise, surprise, and then he's just
Country,
huge guy
that
now.
thing, and it's going
Yeah.
to be successful because it's the language of the people. It's the
hmm
language of the streets.
hmm The language of the people, language of the streets. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now we're coming out of. We probably did touch on it, but I'm just as you just said that it spurred another thought. But now that we're coming out of the pandemic and there's so much happening, we're in this space of cultural revolution, like we talked about before. Speak to how you see hip hop can heal, help us maintain our sanity, because we do know music and the arts can help balance people's mental health and thus and so. And how can hip hop play a part in bringing peace and stability to our community?
Hip hop's always been an outlet. Music has always been an outlet for people, an
Mm,
outlet and an inlet. People
mm,
need that type of energy that that somebody's singing to. That there's a song for every situation.
mm,
For every situation, there's a song about it somewhere. So it's just a matter of just keep making stuff that inspires people.
mm,
I mean, that's all you can do. You can make a song. You don't know if it's going to be a hit or not. It may be trash, but it's going to touch somebody. It might not. It might rub somebody the wrong way, but it's going to touch you regardless, whether it be good or bad. So we
mm.
just got to keep the art form alive and
Yeah.
don't lose the art part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like when we went through the mumble rap phase of hip hop. That was just a money grab. The
Yeah.
get rich quick, the powers that be at these record companies were opening the door, letting the floodgates and letting everything just, and it was drowning out good quality hip hop. They went quantity over quality. Well, now that quantity is, it's like a tide. That tide is subsiding. But when that tide subsides, there's still the beach, and the beach is the foundation of hip hop. Real lyrics, beats, rhymes, scratching, the b-boy, graffiti, the breakdancing. It's the whole thing now. You can't drown that out. You can't be a force in the hip hop culture without having some hip hop culture.
Yeah. That's
You see
real
what I'm
right
saying?
there. That's very real. Very real. Wow. You still talk to Daryl? Where's Daryl? What's he doing these days?
Big Dad is doing his thing. He still has the mind of a hip hop mogul. Um,
Yes.
if anybody, oh no, let me tell you, I can give you a little insight on what Big Dad is doing. He's taking on a project that would be envied by many. He is now the quote unquote business manager for Nona Gay.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, he's helping Nona sort out all that. That catalog is a monster,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
helping her sort all that out and getting it right and make it be what it's supposed to be. Marvin Gaye is an icon. He needs an
Yes.
iconic situation. So,
Yes.
yeah, so he Big Dad is helping Nona Gay handle. She just lost her mom. Rest in peace,
Yes.
Jen.
Damn. Yeah.
So all it is just Nona and Frankie, and
Hmm.
Big Dad is there helping the heirs of the Marvin Gaye heirs
Wow.
keep their business in order and in line and get it straight and make it a force. Like the
Hmm.
Michael Jackson was the force. You know how big he
Hmm.
was with his
Hmm.
publishing and all that stuff. So Big Dad is
Hmm.
helping them out with that.
Nice. All right. All right. You remember Jerry Davis?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Didn't Jerry pass away?
Yeah, Jerry passed away, man. I could
Yeah.
not believe it. Let me tell you something. I hadn't seen Jerry in years, and we ran into each other this year. I had just gotten back from Ghana. I spent a month and a half in Ghana, and I had just gotten back, and I was at the Pan African Film Festival. I ran right, like literally ran right into him, and was like, "Oh man." So we were doing just like what you and I have been doing here. It was like texting each other, like, "Yo, we're gonna get together. We're gonna get together. Meet me at the spot for a beer or something." And then, man, just one day he wasn't here,
Wow.
and it
Yeah.
just that hit me so hard. But it's interesting because our conversations were like, man, we did so, like you said, we were there, man. We did so much. We co-founded the Committee for Excellence in Black Music. We did so many things together in this hip hop culture. We were, like you say, we were there,
Yeah.
and and
Oh
then
yeah.
he just all of a sudden, man, passed away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
to say we weren't there is like trying to separate boogers from snot. You can't. You can't.
That's hilarious.
Wait,
Hilarious.
Greg. You know what? I know something I wanted. Wait a minute. You told me. Have you been to any of my football games?
I haven't. I want to talk about. Let's talk about this here. Okay, so tell me more. I have not been, but I see you on Facebook and stuff. So you got a women's football league?
I have a women's football team, the Antelope Valley Brick House Bricks. Um, and
Nice.
we are roughly 8 or 9 months old.
Okay.
We had our first tryouts. It was real bumpy in the beginning. We started out, we were expecting a whole lot of people to come try out. Only 8 people showed up.
Oh.
Uh, we had a Super Bowl exhibition yanked right out from under us at the last minute.
Oh.
Uh, we couldn't go to our exhibition game in the beginning of the season in, I think it was March, in Mexico. We were supposed to play the Mexican champs, and we couldn't go because of all that kidnapping and stuff that was going on down
Hmm.
there in Mexico.
Hmm.
Um, at the last minute, right before our season started, our funding for the season was rejected. We lost our funding.
Wow.
I mean, it's been a bumpy road. But, oh, and then to top it off, our very first game, season opener, we had to travel to Houston to play the Houston Power, the number one seed team in the league in our division. I mean in our conference. And we only went down there with we only had 12 girls.
Mm.
We went. Everybody knows anything about football. You got to have 11. We only had 12.
Wow.
It was hot, humid, um, and it was a chore. And we lost that game 24-0.
Wow. So now what is
Ever
this is
since,
tackle football.
wait, hold on. Ever since then, we've been on a 5-game winning streak. We
Awesome.
are in the Legacy Bowl, WTFL Legacy Bowl national title game on July 15th in Daytona Beach.
What?
We are in the top. We're one of the top. We are in the top 2 of all the women's football teams on the West Coast.
Wow.
We're either number 1 or number 2, and we're only roughly 8 or 9 months old.
Nice. Wow, wow, wow. Isn't that something? Okay. So now what kind of offense you running there?
Um, we run an unconventional offense. It's not. The best coaches will take what they have and adjust their schemes to what their personnel is. And we have running backs, we have speed, we have toughness, we have agility. We're really a mobile football team.
Wow.
So he adjusts, Coach Manning. He uses his weapons well.
Hmm.
He's got so many of them. When you have 5 linemen, and then you have 6 players that are eligible to receive the ball. He uses all 6 of
Nice.
them.
Wow. Wow.
All 6
Now,
of
what's
them.
the age group of the women that are playing tackle
Now,
football?
it's grown women's, not lingerie football. It's
Oh,
regular full contact helmet, shoulder pads, will knock the snot out of your nose, football, and and it's 18 and up. However, we do have a 16-year-old on our team.
oh,
Her parents signed the waiver just so
nice.
she could play. So if you're 16, 17 and and your parents will allow you to play grown women's football, by all means, you got to be committed. These girls, see, it's still a pay to play football.
Sure.
Women is still pay to play. They're not getting salaries yet.
Sure.
We haven't reached that level, but we are at the highest level that there is available for women's football,
Wow.
which means, I mean, some of the leagues, there's one league that has a deal with ESPN. Our league has we're going to be the first league in women's football to have international members. We're
Huh.
getting a team from Canada and a team from Mexico will be in our league next year.
Wow.
So we'll be an
Nice.
international league. So we're
Wow.
doing a
That's
lot of
big.
firsts. There's a lot of firsts going on with women's football because it's not even ground floor. People are like, oh, it's new, 5 years old. No, but women's football has been around for 20 years or more.
Right. They had like the Powder Puff League or something like that. I
Well,
remember.
no, it was always been tackled. I remember
Nice.
back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a team out of Texas called the Texas Bluebonnets,
Wow.
and they were good. And
Wow.
and LA had a team. They had this one offensive tackle. Uh, the numbers were unconventional. Her number was 747. Girl.
Oh,
But
nice.
that was back when I was young.
Hmm.
So women's football has been around, but now it's way more organized, a lot faster, more, way. The girls got their stuff together on the administrative side. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a few the crazies out there, but the WNFC, my league, the WTFL that
Hmm.
we're in with Terry McGriff, that's a solid league. The
Hmm.
WNFC is a solid league,
Nice.
and the WFA is a solid league. The WFA has the most teams. They have 60 some odd teams.
Oh, wow.
The
Hmm.
WNFC has roughly 18, 17, 18, maybe 19 teams. They're what you would call the closest thing to pro football because they handpick
Hmm.
who joins their league. And the WTFL, our league that we're in, we're like a league full of um, a league full of, dang, how do you put it? We got all the talent. I mean, teams have left our league and gone to other leagues and won the championships there.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So our
Yeah.
team, our league is a league full of sleeper champions, championship sleepers, a whole league full of them.
Wow.
Any one of the teams can come out of the WTFL and dominate another league. Any
Wow.
one of our teams.
Yeah. 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 Let me ask you this. I like to watch the WNBA, right? And I heard huh? What'd you say? Uh-oh.
Matter of fact, hold on. This is the commissioner of our league. Hold on.
Okay. Mhm. Yeah, we're talking to Dwayne Muffla Simon, renowned hip hop producer, coaching women's football, tackle football. Wow, that's really, really good. He's going to come back with us, tell us a little bit more about his league, his team, and what it's all about. And, we got some gems there listening to the whole hip hop history. We got some really good information from Brother Dwayne. Uh, a lot of people out there talking about the 50 years of hip hop and the history, but we're going to give it to you because we was there. All right, women's tackle football. Tell
Greg,
me,
can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay, wait. That was my commissioner, Greg. His name is Terry McGriff. Um,
Yes. Oh, well, it looks like we lost him here real quick. I think he might have been trying to plug us in with Terry McGriff, who's the commissioner of Women's Tackle Football League. Wow. I wanted to ask a question. I was watching the WNBA and they were chatting about how when the women, go out on maternity leave and when they have their child and when they come back to the court, they are faster, stronger on, a very uncanny level. And they said there wasn't any data that could support that claim, but it is spoken legend among the players that when they come back from having a child, they just seem to be stronger, faster, and more ballicious, if you will. That's what's going on there. Man, 50 years of hip hop, that's what we have here. It seems like we might have lost Brother Dwayne there. And I'm going to wait a few more minutes for him to see if he can come back into the studio and we can close things out. But in the meantime, our goal here is to really just continue to share. There he is. Information, inspire you. Let me see. Well, there you are.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm doing all right. Look at that. That's a good trick right there.
Technology for you, isn't it?
Ah, very, very good. Welcome to Coffee Conversations with Greg J. This is where we have culturally relevant conversations in a casual manner and from a global perspective. And in our casual manner, we glean, all of the facts and figures. Freely talk right here, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. And while we started off with Brother Dwayne, me and Dwayne go way back, and we were talking about the 50 years of hip hop, and I've been purposing through this show since I was there as a young executive in the industry. I witnessed the birth of hip hop. Here's Brother Dwayne right here. And we wanted to just connect the dots for a lot of people. And then we started talking about the Women's Tackle Football League, and you happened to call in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell us about the league. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and then just tell us about the league. What's the vision there?
I'm back.
There
there,
he is.
there he is. Well, it's amazing. Before we even get started, about how when we're talking about hip hop, and hip hop is one of the main things that has really influenced Black culture, especially in the last century. Um, how it's how music, especially hip hop, has kind of crossed over in all industries. A lot of the hip hop artists have
Hold
This,
on,
you know, oh,
know.
it's kind of like how a lot of the hip hop artists have, kind of morphed their careers into the mainstream and films, all types of different cinema, everything. They're doing their hands in everything. Some of them are even in sports now. Like as you said, like that's Dwayne right here. He's gotten his hand in sports, but they've been in everything. And hip hop has kind of touched everything since its birth. And it's kind of funny that you're talking about that. How hip, and like I was saying when I first met Dwayne, I was telling Dwayne, how hip hop, when some of the stuff that and the music that he was in and people that he knew has influenced my life in business. And a lot of times, some of those things that they don't understand, that you get people, you can literally take people off of death's door. Some people, contemplating all kind of suicides, and somehow inspiring a lot of those guys' work was to helping people, especially during that 80s period when we had a lot of our black men going to prison because of the cocaine and all that stuff and crack era back during that. That work was really, to me, a lot of spiritual with them too, because it kept people sane. You got a lot of these artists, they don't understand that their influence. I was telling Dwayne that, and it's just, we kind of kindled a friendship that, and it just morphed into this sports thing with women's tackle football league, and we've become really good friends because of it.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's all entertainment. It's all entertainment business. And just go into what we're talking about with the women's tackle football league. We're wanting to broaden that as an entertainment base because football in this country is the #1 sport, and we want people to kind of get to see how good these women can actually play tackle football. Everybody's starting to see flag football, but tackle football with women is actually good. There's a lot of good high quality football done with it. We want to expose it, and we wanted to bring it into as a normal business. It hasn't so far has been done that way. It's been a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of things making it seem that it's something that it really is. But with people like Dwayne and myself and some of the other people that we're starting to bring on board with our league, we're trying to show different corporations and businesses that this is a legitimate business option for families, especially when we play, which is during the springtime. So we want start making it kind of at least at the level of minor league baseball, getting families out there to come watch these ladies play, let them get themselves exposed, start to get their own personal brand as well as the team and the league brands out there.
It's really, really interesting. I mean, you said a lot there. I'm getting ready to dive right on in. Let me back up just about 2 steps and just say, what were you all as football enthusiasts? How'd y'all feel to see hip hop as the Super Bowl halftime show? What was that, last year? Not this past year, but last year. What was your feeling?
Ooh, I'll answer that first before I let the expert get in there. I think it's been great. It just goes to show you, the influence, in my opinion, especially as a fan, as hip hop is made once again into our culture. And now it's not thought of as, okay, an outlier. It's actually the main style of music now. I remember, what was his name? I can't think of that guy from St. Louis who Getting Hot in Here. He came out, he did his halftime show. Bruno Mars.
Who did the last halftime show? The last Super Bowl?
The last Super Bowl was man, that's a good one. Okay.
I mean, you had Ice-T. We had not Cube, but we've had Snoop.
That wasn't Snoop and them. That wasn't Snoop.
No, Snoop and them was the year when it was at SoFi.
That was in LA. This is Arizona.
Who did that just
now? It was Rihanna. It was Rihanna.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. It was. Oh, that was a great show too. Oh, why did I forget that one? That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good show. Maybe that was good because it was so like I say, once again, hip hop is becoming so normal. It's not anything abnormal to see a hip hop artist doing something like a halftime show now. It's not like, okay, you're thinking that this is gangster or thug or ghetto music. This is normal mainstream hip hop. Is up there with rock and roll and pop now. So I mean, it might actually surpass. It might have surpassed pop, in my opinion.
All right. Well, back to the tackle football there. I mean, as I was listening to Dwayne before he came on to describe it, I was really amazed. This is a national thing. You guys are playing like these are road teams, traveling teams.
Teams all the way across the country, from as far as Connecticut all the way to You know, right here in Antelope Valley, California. That's how far, the Northeast, all the way down to the, I guess, the Pacific, the Southern Pacific of the
Yeah,
United
and then we got a team in the Bay Area, Sacramento.
Sacramento,
Wow.
and with two teams in Texas, like Virginia. So we're all over, and we're expanding. We're just looking for the right people with the right mindset. We're not looking just to bring teams in for the sake of adding teams.
Mhm. I was going to ask you all because I heard I like to watch the WNBA, and I heard them say there's no data to support this. What they did say, it's legend among the players,
Mhm.
and I wanted to ask you all if you all have experienced this. So they said that when the woman goes on maternity leave and then has her child and then comes back to the court to play, when they return, they're much, much faster, much, much stronger, more than 10 times better players after they've had that child. They said that is a spoken legend among the players. They don't have the data to support it, but that's what the sisters are saying amongst themselves. In football, do you see the same?
I can tell you, for me, I have not seen where we had a lady come back because the way our season is. But what I can tell you, they do get stronger. And what I can tell you, as far as pain tolerance, physicality, and physical toughness on per person play basis, these women are tougher than guys.
Wow.
I've
Yeah,
we literally
yeah,
had to drag off the field with torn ligaments. They're playing with literally their ligaments are torn in their knee, and they're still playing. Oh, I can deal with the pain. It's not a big deal. What do you
yeah.
mean? You got no ligaments. It's flopping around in there. Broken arms. I mean, their pain tolerance is far greater
It's
than
crazy.
guys.
Yeah, it's crazy. Here, let me give you a little story about one of our marquee players in the league, Jessica Davis. When we first had tryouts last year, she had just had a baby. Her baby wasn't even walking yet. When she tried out, she's 5'10", 5'11". She was 200 and roughly 10 pounds. She was well overweight because she's an athlete, but like I said, she just had a baby. But she ran the 40-yard dash in 4.9.
Wow.
Now, it a woman that just had a baby, so out of shape, because if you know her in shape, she's roughly 170 pounds, you know, ready to run. She's a sprinter, but she was well overweight, but she was still running at 4.940. That was, and out of shape, just coming off the couch.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, these girls, they don't see the thing with women's football. The hardest part of recruiting is to get them to understand that you don't know. I can't play football. You don't even know. How do you know? You've
Right.
never played.
Right.
How do you know? We have two girls that are on the All-Star team that were named to the All-Star team. Um, that never played. They said, Coach, I can't play. I said, you never played before. They're rookies. And they never played, and they are on the All-Star team.
Wow.
They had no idea. So there's a lot of girls out there that are just sitting around saying, I can't play. No, you don't know. You don't know. You
Wow.
do not know if you can play or not. Football is cerebral,
Mhm.
mostly. And the women are cerebral.
Wow. Wow.
It's something that they can really sink their teeth into if they really could just give it a shot.
Mhm. Mhm.
They pick it up fairly quickly. They not only do they want to know what to do, they want to know why they got to do it. And once you
Yeah,
teach that, they latch on to it, and they really pick it up pretty fast. And like I said, the one thing that makes it easier for them is their toughness. So a lot of times you have to get some guys to get over the mental pain and over getting in shape and stuff like that. You don't really have too much of that problem when the girls are playing. They know once they decide to commit to do it, you don't really have a problem with them being committed far as getting their bodies ready, because it's kind of a natural thing to them. They really don't have you don't have a lot of complaining about, oh, I'm too tired. If they're showing up, they're showing up to work.
yeah,
Wow.
and on top of that, it's pay to play. These girls, the fees for the guys to play this level of football, which is semi-pro football, their fees range from $100, no more than $350 at the most. That's the highest I've seen out here in California. These girls pay upwards of $1,500
Wow.
to play.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and the
So why
commitment.
the disparity there? Is it
Not
because
sorry to not to mention paying for babysitting,
I
Yeah,
and
see?
some girls will travel 2 or 3 hours to get to practice.
Mhm.
yeah,
They,
Mhm.
it's and what you're about to say, Greg. You're about to say, is it why the disparity in price? Because the girls have to travel so much, hotels, airfare, all that stuff. There's a lot of men's teams in California where you can get a full schedule of 10-game schedule and not even have to leave the state. But
Wow.
women, you got to leave the state.
Mhm.
You got to
So
leave the
this
state.
is considered semi-pro ball?
well,
Yes.
we branded it as amateur. We don't want to do semi-pro at all. We don't want because there's a big negative connotation to semi-pro, and these girls deserve a clean slate. So we say we're all amateur because they are. I mean, we have girls like he said, just we found on the street that's never played
Mhm.
football before, maybe never even played sports before, but they look athletic, or we just say, hey, you need to give it a try. We think it'll help you get in shape. You'll get some camaraderie, get to hang with some girls you're like-minded, and they come.
Self-esteem.
Yeah, and
Okay.
build one of the things is build self-esteem. One of the things I also said, if you could teach these women to come out here and play football, the one thing that they will never be a victim of domestic violence again, because the violence of
I
the
bet.
will teach you that you don't have to worry about getting hit because they really deliver blows, and a lot of times when you talk about domestic violence issues, it's the threat of violence that really get these ladies under control by the abusers. You play
Mhm.
football, you ain't worried about that no more because you done got knocked 5 yards in the F once before, and you got up and, oh, this ain't so bad. And then
Right.
next thing you know, you deliver a blow to somebody, and that really builds your confidence. When you can learn that you can lay somebody out and it doesn't kill them, and they're gonna get back up, and then you could learn to take a hit. The threat of being somebody wanting to fight you or hurt you now is out the window. You don't have those issues anymore.
Yeah, football. There's a saying that the Raiders.
Wow.
Well, I used to work for the Raiders, and Morris Bradshaw had it on his chalkboard. He said, "Football does not build your character; it reveals your character."
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. That's powerful, powerful stuff. All right, well, women's tackle football. Look at that. All the connections to hip hop music there. I'm seeing you all are doing women's tackle football. Snoop Dogg's got his football league. I'm meeting more and more parents that are sending their young people through a football league. And I recently learned that Snoop has a league for autistic children.
Really?
Yes, I just learned that one. I was like, wow, over in Compton. So that's pretty big, you know. You see this give back to what is it? What is the common thread between football and hip hop?
Because it's a team sport. It's a
Okay.
team sport. It's the greatest team sport in the world. Football, you have to have the most players doing the same thing, all on the same page in any sport. What soccer? How many people out there? What, 9, 10, something like that? The
Yes.
rugby, it's the same. It's the same thing. You got to be on the same page with football.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
can't have 11, 10 on 11. 11 people have to be on the same page. It's the greatest team sport in the world.
I'm glad you mentioned soccer because we, like we say, we're global here, and I will tell you this story, right? So I make many trips to Africa, and brothers, we're gonna have to get you on one of our trips here, to go
I,
with us over to the continent,
I want to go to Ghana and South Africa, and
Yeah, so I was in both of those nations. So this story, I was in South Africa, but it was during the time of the NCAA basketball tournament. So I go down to the bar. I want to see the Sweet 16, and I tell the guy to change it to the Sweet 16. And he looked at me like I was out of my mind. So I said, "Wait, I'm in a nation full of brothers. Y'all like watching basketball?" And the dude says, "No." And I said, "What do you want? What do you watch?" He goes, "Soccer. We call it football." And it was very interesting. I mean, it's a big religion,
Mhm.
soccer. And what is since you guys are sports enthusiasts, do you see the rise of soccer also coming in our community? Because up until now, not so much, right?
Oh no, you crazy, Greg. Soccer is huge here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
especially
huge.
at the youth level And maybe when you get in high school, maybe it starts waning when you start talking about professional, because we are so far behind the other nations.
Yes.
But there's soccer fields, especially youth soccer fields, any city and any county, USA. You're gonna find people playing soccer. It's just it wanes as they get older, because the competition at the world level is so stiff. I mean, here in Jacksonville, the Jaguars owner Shad Khan has a team in England that's plays soccer, and they're constantly going up and down to the higher and lower levels because of the competition. I mean, it's the number 2 sport on the planet behind. Most people don't know what cricket is, but the most popular sport on the planet is cricket. And then soccer is number 2. But man, soccer is still huge here in the United States. It's just it wanes when you start talking about when you get to the elite level and the professional level, because we still have so far to catch up. Our women are doing a pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the women's sports, they're right there.
Wait, here's the thing.
USA, Canada, and they was doing a shootout at the end. I forgot what that was. I don't know if that was World Championships or what. Go ahead, Muff. Man.
Yeah, but if you want to talk about growth, girls flag football, that's the next big thing.
Wow.
Girls flag football right now. The NFL is getting behind flag, not just football. They're getting behind women's football, but more specifically, flag.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
They don't want to. The NFL is not going to jump right in to tackle football. We on our own for a minute.
Yeah, we have to prove ourselves with the tackle. But the flag,
we got to prove ourselves with the tackle. But flag is proving itself. It's ready to go, and the NFL is getting all over it.
In here in the Southeast, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Alabama, right now, I know for facts the girls play for our state championships in high school, and there's 6 colleges here in the state of Florida that gives full scholarships for girls to play college flag football.
Yeah,
that's how big. That's how big that's growing.
Yeah, those are my I'm supporting all flag football because I'm trying to snatch them girls up right out of high school.
Nice.
Speaking of flag, we did. I don't know if we was talking about our championship that we're having. That Muff's actually playing for our championship. His team is representing the Western Conference. We also, before that game, we have an international flag team. So we're playing Mexico. The Blaze organization is coming up from Mexico. Is playing our All-Stars in flag for the championship game, and then we're going to play Mexico again. Blaze Mexico again in our tackle All-Star game on Sunday, the next day.
Wow. Well, Muff, look, congratulations on the championship game. That's awesome. Mr. McGriff, honored to meet you here. We are way over time, but this has been a fruitful conversation. I'm just like, man, you learn something new every day, and we're able to bridge the gap and find the connective tissue even between our original subject of hip hop and then this whole new paradigm, man, of women playing football, flag football, tackle football, it's just one of the glass ceilings, I guess. I guess you could call it that, new pioneer. Let me ask you guys as progenitors of women's sports, let's just kind of touch on before we get out of here. What about in professional sports, the pay disparities that we hear so much every weekend when we watch sports? They talk about, the women aren't making as much as the men and thus and so. And do you all see that changing eventually? And what does women's tackle football need to do?
With the NIL deals and the NFTs and all that stuff, there's no excuse anymore. You don't need them to get paid. You can pay yourself.
The problem I would see with that is us, like I said, what we're trying to do, what we're doing with our league is building the brand enough so that people will want to come out and watch the sports. The endorsers, like your corporations, they will pay us according to how many eyeballs we start bringing to the table, to the television sets and on viewers, and how many people we start putting in the stands. And that's what Muff and all the other teams in our league are working and starting to really concentrate on, is building the ties with the local community. That's what I'm honored to have you on your show, so you can help us get the word out about what we're doing to show that these girls can actually play this game, come out and watch them and be entertained, especially anytime between April and July. Come watch these ladies play. There's no NFL being played. There's no college being played. Come watch these girls play. come start following these ladies, because they can play the game, and you'll really enjoy yourself. We also, just not to be remiss, for everybody, that the game will be televised on the SVTV network. On starting kickoff will be at 6 p.m. Eastern time this Saturday, and then noon on Sunday the 16th. You'll see the first international All-Star game between Blaze Mexico and the Women's Tackle Football League All-Stars.
Nice. So much. All right, guys. Any last words? And then drop me your contact details so we can share with the people to let them know how to get a hold of you.
Muff,
with Brickhouse Bricks, AB Brickhouse Bricks football. You can get us on Instagram. You can get us on Facebook. Brickhouse Bricks Women's Football LLC, or Brickhouse Bricks Women's Pro Football.com. I know my commissioner hates that pro part, but that wasn't my fault. The person that did that wasn't my fault. I can't fix that right now, so we'll fix that later. But it's Brickhouse Bricks Women's Pro Football.com, our website.
All right, we'll put that all in the chat there. Man, women's tackle football, hip-hop music.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Hip-hop is everywhere, Coach. Hip-hop is everywhere. Thank you for having us. And our website, and we are the Women's Tackle Football League on Facebook and all of our social media, as well as the website is thewtfl.com. And thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you. You know, y'all can get this Coffee Conversations with Greg J across all of our Facebook platforms. Just put it in there, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We're on Instagram. Where else are we? We are repurposing the audio. Put that out as an audio-only podcast. You can get it wherever you get your favorite podcast: Spreaker, Apple, iHeart, Google, Amazon. Just put it in there. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. And, of course, on our website, Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. Thank you all for coming here, and thank you all for listening. Remember, love one another. Love one another. Love one another. Peace and blessings.